All right, everybody, college basketball calibration and dry runs are about to be over. I'm doing one final dry run tonight, but I'm just going to recap how things have gone so far. I'm going to say the dry runs have not gone well, but I'm still on to start my official college basketball betting tomorrow, November 21st. Now, we're 15 days into the season, so I have 15 days worth of data. Over 670 games have been played. And here are the results so far. So against the spread, the blender was actually positive until yesterday, where it had like a minus 16 unit day alone yesterday on the blender to bring it negative. Quarter and half are barely above water. On the percentages, though, the quarter is plus 5.6 units. So the quarter unit has been doing the best for against the spread picks. Now, for money lines, the penny somehow is high, but I usually don't use that metric. That's really more of a calibration metric that I use. So all the rest of them, not so great. The difference here for my college football approach is that I cap it at minus 450 instead of minus 300 for college basketball. So I'm a little bit more willing to make bigger risks on moneyline favorites in basketball. As far as standard error is concerned, the combo is the lowest. That's not a surprise. But however, the combo has not been doing as well against the spread as it should be. So here is the dry run results. So for the dry run results, against the spread has been bad, minus 17.68 units, including a minus 7.82 unit run last night. Just not good. Moneyline, it's been very hard to find any keys or consistency to go off of here. Only 32 total plays in the 15 days, minus 4.79 units. Overall, it hasn't been good, minus 22 units in 12 days. So that's over a unit per day of loss, only hitting 47.2 against the spread. And here's the chart of how it's done. As you can see, the winning days have been pretty small. The losing days, there's been some big ones in there. So it hasn't been good. Just haven't been able to find that consistency yet that I'm looking for. I think one of the main issues is that the first couple of nights, which I didn't do dry runs for, so the 5th, 6th, and 7th, the blender did very good in those 3 days, and so did the combo. So when I was running my key generator, it kept pointing towards the combo and blender to use as keys because those 3 nights were like awesome. I think it was like plus 23 units just in those 3 nights alone. But everything after that was just not as good. Yet when I'd run my key generator, those 3 days were still in there and saying to key off the blender and combo, which I was doing, which led to this right here. So one thing I plan on doing is like a 14-day rolling average for my key generators, so you don't have a lot of old, outdated data influencing the keys, right? So here's the example right here. I ran a report builder for the blender key, right? And the first 4 days, the blender was at plus 16.8 units. I mean, that was great. But after that, it was minus 31 units. So when I'd run my key generator, it keeps saying to key off the blender because those first 4 days. But as those drop off the ledger, if I do a 2-week rolling average and those drop off the ledger, then the blender is not going to be selected as a key anymore. So when I look at the results of my key generator, the blue is moneyline plays, right? And the white is spread plays. So there is blender and combos nowhere to be found because I dropped day 1 off the ledger. See, it starts at day 2 and ends at day 15. It's 2-week rolling average. So just removing that first day of the blender alone took it out of the key generator. So when I look at my key generator, I don't just automatically choose the highest rank one, which would be penny quarter for against the spread, but I look at more factors in that. So the one I really liked was quarter, ATM quarter. So when I ran those 3 sets of keys in there, look how much more consistent it is. Only 3 losing days out of 15, and overall plus 20.7 units, 13.4% ROI. These are the keys I'm going to use for tonight's final dry run and see how it goes, and it's probably going to be the keys for tomorrow's first official day. But right there, that's the type of consistency I'm looking for. Money lines has been a lot harder though, because the money line keys, while all these moneyline keys top my key generator chart, like the overall best one is moneyline quarter dollar, the problem is it's too selective, and so 4 straight days I think there's been no moneyline plays to be had because it just hasn't been there. Yeah, as you can see, the past 3 days there's been a total of 4 moneyline plays that have gone 2 and 2. So what I did is I went down the list of my moneyline key generator, and what I was looking for was a high number, a peak total. That's how many plays meet the criteria in the keys. So I was looking for a higher peak total, which I found right here, 192. That looks like a good number to me. Moneyline half, right? So simply one key, which is the moneyline half key. So I put that into the report builder, and as you can see, it's a lot more consistent. Yes, there's a big loss day in there, day 5, minus 18.6 units. But overall, plus 29.2 units, a lot more consistent, a lot more wins than losses. So that's the type of consistency I'm looking for. So that too, switching to simply the half key is going to be another dry run decision I'm making tonight, and we're going to see how that goes. But overall, it's been a real challenge finding the right combination of keys. And it's not just about keys, it's also about the model as well. And here's the issue with college basketball models compared to a college football model, is that in college basketball, not just models in general, like Ken Pom, any of those guys, as well as odd makers, they are a lot slower to drop the preseason ratings off the ledger. Most teams in college hoops right now are 4 or 5 games into the season, right? 4 and 5 games into the season in college football, the preseason rating influence is almost already out of the equation entirely, but it's still a majority of the equation right now in college basketball. So models, my model, Ken Pom, odds makers, you name it, are a lot slower to drop the preseason ratings out of the equation. So it takes a while, so it takes a lot longer to adjust, and that is exactly why you need to do a calibration phase like I've done in basketball before you start betting. I would say the biggest example of this right now is Nicholls State. Nicholls State, the odds makers continue to make them big underdogs to everybody, and the models, not just my model, but Ken Pom's as well and the others, are a lot slower to adjust for that. So they keep getting these big underdog spreads, and they keep easily covering them, and yet they continue to get these big underdog spreads that they're easily covering. And yet my model keeps picking against them because I'm slow to drop the preseason influence out. Ken Pom is slow. The odds makers are slow. So it's stuff like that. On the flip side of that equation is Maryland. Maryland keeps getting these big spreads to cover as home favorites, and they're not coming close to covering it. And yet my model keeps saying, play Maryland even though they're a big favorite. Play them. The odds makers keep giving them these big lines, and they haven't shown that they can cover these lines yet since the preseason influence of Maryland is so strong because they're projected to be a very good team this year, they continue to get these big lines, and my model continues to say play them, but they're not covering. So this is why I do a calibration phase right here. This is why you don't jump straight into college basketball, because of things like that need to be ironed out. But the blender metric that I have is a lot more tilted to bigger name favorites than my ATM and the currency metrics I have are, which is why my keys right now against the spread are 100% ATM based, and the blender's not even involved because the blender is not being able to catch up to things like Nicholls State and Maryland yet. Those are just 2 examples. There's a lot more, but those are the 2 off the top of my head. And yes, I have been betting actual money in my dry runs because I feel like you have to, because the best teacher in this is actually losing money. That's your best teacher. If I was just doing my dry run against air, then I wouldn't be able to be motivated enough to really dig deep into all this. I haven't been betting a lot of money, like $5 per game, but even then, at like $5, $10 a game, I've lost like over $150 in this dry run. So it's been a motivator to find out the issues and everything. But it might be a little bit slow out of the gates. I am trying new sets of keys tonight on the last night of the dry run. And tomorrow, check my Twitter account at WCLEISS. I'm going to try to come out with plays early because I think there's games starting at like 8:30 my time. So it's going to be an early morning. But we'll see how the last night of the dry run goes. First real day of betting tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. It might be slow out of the gates, but remember how the 2018 numbers I was showing you, it didn't start really turning a profit until mid-December. So hopefully it doesn't take that long, but don't be surprised if things are a little bit bumpy out of the gate. Well, that wraps up the college basketball calibration recap video. Again, tomorrow at WCLEISS to see what I'm on officially for college basketball tomorrow. Let's hope that I got some things ironed out going forward. I might do some weekly or bi-weekly college basketball recaps. Maybe not as frequent while college football is still going on, but into January and February, absolutely, I'll be doing a lot more videos. Well, good luck to everybody for these holiday tournaments for college basketball we're about to go through. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun. Until I see you again, this is Sports Betting Truth signing off.